What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, I thought we would take a look at Knull for the new Legendary, or Legend World Boss Ultimate difficulty fight here. So I have him unlocked on the live server so we can see how my roster and current account level can do against Knull here, which wasn't actually as good as I thought it was going to be. I thought I would at least be able to clear Knull with, you know, some kind of proficiency on stage 1, but I was even having a hard time on stage 1. So yeah, he's definitely not an easy fight. You're gonna need a pretty I don't know, built up account and built up characters. Gonna need pretty decent cards just to attempt stage 1 of Knull here. So first, before we hop into the teams that I used, I'm going to show you my cards. So these are the cards that I'm working with. I have 38% all attack and I have 38% energy attack. I only have 5% physical, so that was just kind of how my cards rolled. So that's what I had to settle for. But all the characters that we're going to be using for today's clears are going to be energy attackers. So luckily the physical didn't matter too much for this particular video. But if I want to try... Who do I even have that's physical? So if I want to try to do like a full clear with like Mystique or Namor, I probably would need more physical. But anyway, this is what my card stats are looking like. Definitely, I would say this is on the low end of the card stats that you would need to be able to clear Knull, because I'm having quite a bit of trouble. So I'd recommend something more like 50% all attack and maybe like 40% energy, 40% physical, which is definitely very, very good card stats. So don't get me wrong there. It's just that's what it seems to require to take on Knull, because he was... yeah, he was putting up quite a fight there. So if we hop in here, I was only able to make it up to stage 3 or clear stage 3. So I wasn't able to do anything on stage 4. As you can see, stage 5 is still locked. So let me go ahead and show you the teams. I was only able to clear with 4 teams, so wasn't able to get a 5th team here. And I did all of these yesterday, so I did them all in a row. So it was taking up my my clears, so none of these characters will duplicate. So I was able to get 4 unique teams to be able to beat him. I beat stage 1 twice, and then I beat stage 2 once, and then stage 3 once. First team that I used here, when I was just kind of getting my feet wet and learning the fights. Okay, phone, yes, software is ready to install it. Leave me alone. Just first, like, learning the fight, which actually took quite a while. So I would say it took me probably around like 20 attempts or so just to get my first clear. And then after that, I started doing a lot better in terms of managing my DPS, managing the time, and actually getting more progress in the fight, because I was running out of time most of the fails that I had. A lot of them I was getting killed, but that was because I started trying to speed up my run by just DPSing the entire time, which I still kind of need to do. I can't really have much downtime or wait for him to do attacks and like sit back and then dodge the attacks. I kind of need to DPS him the entire time to be able to clear the stage, which is a little annoying because definitely puts your characters in more harm's way, because you want to avoid those attacks because they pierce your damage immunity, they pierce invincibility, so he's definitely going to be hurting you quite a bit. Yeah, so anyway, the first team that I used here was Scarlet as my DPS, and then we have Mystique and Storm as both supporting her. This is one team that I could probably take away one of the supports for, because I did have a pretty good portion of time left on my clear, and this was just a stage 1 clear. So I could probably take out Storm or Mystique and then put that towards my 5th team that I can build to have 5 clears a day. So I'll have to see about that. And then the second team that I used, well, this isn't the second team I used. The second team I used was actually this one. So the second team I used was Sharon to clear stage 2. We have Star-Lord lead, and then her, of course, as the DPS. And I actually had to change around my build for... Actually, I should show my build for Scarlet first. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. So here's my build on Scarlet. So we have a few Odin's Blessings on her. We do have full Urus, so we have her built up quite a bit. Definitely room for improvement. I could put more Odin's Blessings on her. I have all of her skills leveled up. Her Isolate set is fully awakened with Power of Angry Hulk. And we have a CTP of Rage on her, which is definitely a must, because she's not going to be able to do this without a CTP of Rage. And then her uniform is at Mythic as well. So my Scarlet is pretty well built, I would say. And yeah, it still took quite a bit of time to be able to get the clear with her. And then if we move over to my second team, for my Sharon here, I actually had to change my build for Sharon just to get the clear. I wasn't actually doing enough damage at the very end. So getting up to the end where Thor kind of smashes down his hammer and then you have to kill Knull before he recovers, she wasn't doing enough damage because Knull isn't doing any attacks there, so I wasn't able to take advantage of Sharon's accumulation. So without the accumulation, I didn't have enough damage to actually kill him in that final phase, so I switched her to a CTP of energy. And when I switched her to the CTP of energy, she was able to get the clear. So that little bit of extra damage from the chain hit there did the trick for me, actually, because I was switching from a regular Obelisk. So I always had a regular Obelisk on her with a 200% proc. For her Ice Weight set, we have a fully awakened Power of Angry Hulk. Her uniform is at Mythic. All of her skills are leveled up, and we don't really have many Urus on her because I actually don't use my Sharon very often. I don't know, just her playstyle sometimes I'm just not feeling it, so that's why I haven't invested as much in Sharon as I did in, say, Scarlet, but definitely going to be investing a little bit more in Sharon here because she does very well against Knull. So that's going to be my second clear there that I did on stage 2. Then the third clear I did for stage 3 was here with Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is my, say, highest DPS character, so I definitely needed him for stage 3. I don't think any of my other characters could have done that. So here's my Doctor Strange build. Again, not too much on the Uru department, but we have all of his skills leveled up. We have a fully awakened Hawk's Eye on him because I needed more skill cooldown at the time, and we have a CTP of Rage, of course, so he definitely needs that Rage. And his uniform is just at Legendary. I never did that last upgrade, so that's what my Doctor Strange is looking like. We have Captain Marvel in there as just kind of a support and team up, but Captain Marvel also serves a second purpose because of Doctor Strange's play style where you're kind of just spamming his skill rotation the entire time. I run into a lot of attacks that I need to avoid because they will pierce his invincibility and kill him. So then I will switch to Captain Marvel. I will kite around and run and avoid the attack. Then when she's done avoiding the attacks, if I still have time left before I can switch to Doctor Strange, then Captain Marvel is going to take over for me and do a little bit of DPS because I do have a CTP of Rage on her, so she's definitely capable of doing DPS to Knull. And I haven't actually tried her on her own, if you were wondering that. I haven't tried Captain Marvel as the main DPS to see if she can clear a stage. I will do that later on, but I'm just going over my initial clears that I was able to get. And then the final clear that I was able to do was actually with Odin. So Odin was my main DPS here. We have Medusa for her leadership to help out Odin. And this was also back to a stage 1 clear. So I went back to stage 1 to do this. Odin, I think, could have actually done a stage 2, but I was just kind of over it because I was recording so many fights that I've been at this for hours. So I just wanted to kind of get through it. And Odin did a very good job, actually. So let's go ahead and take a look at my build on Odin. So if we look here, again, not too much in terms of Uru on him quite yet. I haven't even leveled up his first skill, but I don't use his first skill, so I guess that's not too important. Everything else is leveled up. And then I haven't even upgraded his Isolate set, so I do have more work to do on Odin. I kind of just tier 3'd him and then boop, swapped on a CTP of Rage, and that's kind of where I left him. So I will upgrade his Isolate set in the future, and I only have his uniform at rare, so I do have a lot more room for Odin in terms of his power, and he was still able to clear stage 1 quite easily. I'll have to look back at the video, but I believe it's quite easily. And yes, I will be showing the clears. I'm just kind of going over the teams a little bit in detail here before I do that. And then the last slide here, I was just trying to get a clear with what I had remaining, but I didn't have any leaderships. If we look at all of my characters here, I've used all the leaderships up, so I was kind of stuck with Apocalypse lead or Professor X lead if I went with a mutant team. Namor did seem to have enough damage. It was really close though. I don't know if he would have been able to fully clear it. I've only tried a couple times, and every time I did run out of time, but I just wasn't sure if that was because I had to switch quite a bit because Namor doesn't have the best survivability. And then Dormammu, again, he can almost do it. I just need a better leadership. So I think if I take off Mystique here and then put someone else in to fill in, I think Scarlet will still be able to do stage 1. And then if I bring Mystique over here to have as support for Dormammu, I think Dormammu might be able to do this. Again, I'll look at that in another video. Besides that, if there's anyone else you want me to try out, feel free to let me know. I will try them at their kind of max potential that I could do. So if I do have a leadership for them, I'll try them out. So options for that would probably be Professor X has a pretty good shot at that. When I was using a lead and support with Professor X, it did seem like he had enough damage. So he's one option that I could try. Medusa actually did pretty good with her awakening skill, but besides that, she wasn't doing much damage. So she's only probably good as a character to switch to and get a bit of burst damage from the awakening skill. And then you would switch back to your main DPS. It's kind of the same thing with Jean there. Jean's tier 3 was the only thing that was really doing a lot of damage. Star-Lord, I was actually kind of impressed with. Star-Lord was doing a little bit more damage than I thought he would, so I might give it a try with Star-Lord. Besides that, I don't know who else would really work here. My Apocalypse wasn't quite on par. I have a CTP of energy on him, but I haven't tried with the leadership, so that could be it. So anyway, if there's anyone else you want me to kind of try here, I will give a few others a try, but let me know in the comments below. So now we're going to hop into these 4 clears here. I'm not going to show the entire clears just because this video is already going on for a long time with me just explaining the teams here. But let's hop into the first fight, which is going to be my Scarlet one, and I will show that entire fight so I can kind of explain the actual mechanics of the Knull fight. Then after that, I'm just going to switch to kind of like the last maybe couple minutes of the fights for the other clears. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Alright, so here's the first fight here that I did, and this is going to be my clear with Scarlet. Basically for the first 30 bars here, you're pretty much going to see the around the same attack patterns. He's going to knock you backwards. He's going to have those purple circles kind of pop up there. When those purple circles pop up, if you walk through them or get hit by them, they will stun you. So then you will get hit by the blast afterwards. So that's why you want to run up to him, get into the safe circle right in front of the throne. And then he also does these kind of blasts right here where he has kind of like a purple circle that kind of encroaches out to almost the edge of the arena. So you just want to go all the way to the back of the arena for that one. Like he's doing it right there, but I kind of just stayed up front because I wasn't really too concerned about dodging it because I seem to get hit by it even if I get out of the actual blast radius. And what I think is happening there is it's actually triggering from your strikers. So if your strikers are in the purple area when he's doing that attack, even if you're outside of the purple area, you still get snared and hit by the attack because your strikers register as, I guess, something being in that area. So that's kind of weird, but that's the only thing I can really think of because I've had it not happen and there was no strikers on the field, and then I have it happen every time I have strikers on the field. So it seems to be something with the strikers. As you can see there, we got through the first bit without any issues for Scarlet here. Definitely plenty of damage with this particular team and also with the CTP of Rage. One thing that is making this fight extremely annoying and is why I had such a hard time actually getting my first clears was those stupid blade twisters. I really hate those things. Alright, anyway, for this attack here, you can see that I'm not doing very good at dodging this particular run, at least, is you want to kind of do a corkscrew around Knull. So when you start shooting out those symbiotes that like seek you out, or I guess they don't really seek you out, they kind of shoot out in a direction, they bounce off of the walls. You want to run in a circle, but as you're running in that circle, you want to slowly get closer to Knull. Because if you get closer to them, then you can avoid their bounce or ricochet off the wall, and you generally won't get hit by them. Right there, he changes phases at 22 life bars. So at 22 life bars, he does that stab in his chest, and then you want to make sure that you look for the safe zone because he's going to have the whole area light up with that purple. and then there'll be one circle that you can run into, and the circle tends to appear in the direction that you start running. So move your joystick in a kind of optimal area so that you can actually run to it. So start kind of like moving your joystick a little bit, and then it'll trigger to that area. And then for this part right here, the dragon pops out at 12 bars. And basically what I do there is I try to make like a V pattern like you just saw right there. So make him kind of breathe all the symbiotes on one side of the arena and then switch him to the other side of the arena. I accidentally got hit there by the remaining blast from the dragon. So I have to switch here, because if I got hit by those purple attacks that he just summoned, then I would have had all of those symbiote icons light up and I would have lost my Scarlet. So I'm just going to do a little bit of DPS here with my Mystique. And then right here, while you're in iframe, that attack luckily does not seem to hit you. That purple one that he did right there, where it has the purple lines out in all directions and those symbiote arms kind of shoot out from him, which is good. And then at 7 bars here is when you enter the final phase. So at 7 bars, he's going to do that stab one more time. And now you're going to have to wait for Thor, because if you try to go up and attack him right there, he's got that symbiote cocoon around him that just damages you and knocks you backwards, and you can't really do anything. So now you can hop in and attack him, and you actually need to kill him here before he kind of recovers. So he summons that stuff there and he starts like regaining his power. So even if you have time left on the clock, if you don't kill him here, you still auto lose. It's not like you can have him recover and then, okay, hey, he's, you know, a little bit tougher, but I still have time to beat him. No, you have to beat him there or else it's game over. So as you can see there, we did end with about a minute left. That's why I think I can remove one of these support characters and still clear this with Scarlet, at least on stage 1. And the rewards, not any better than the APK. They're just the same as regular World Boss Ultimate, so the rewards are not very impressive. Yeah, I'm not happy with the reward versus difficulty here, so let's move on to the next fight. Alright, so the next fight here was with Sharon, and this was stage 2. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm just using a few skills from Star-Lord just to build up his tier 3, because the previous runs that I was doing was running out of time. I kind of needed Star-Lord to have his tier 3 available, because then I could use Sharon and then switch over to Star-Lord for that last bit when he's weakened from Thor to actually kill him. But that was before I switched to the CTP of Energy. So with the CTP of Energy, I was able to do that with just Sharon. And for some reason, I'm showing you just a little bit of beginning part, because if you try to activate Sharon's tier 3 skill, it doesn't always work. As you can see, I got it to work right here, but you literally have to be like touching his throne. So you need to like run into the throne to where you're just like running into a wall, and then you can use your tier 3. And if you're even like 1 footstep back from that throne, your tier 3 just gets auto canceled, and I have no idea why that is. So for some reason with Sharon, you have to be very, very careful with her tier 3 skill if you're going to use it in this particular phase here for the first 30 bars. And so as you can see here, there's no strikers on the field, so I'm not actually getting snared. But being all the way back here where I didn't get, you normally don't get snared, when there was a striker up there, I still got snared in the back there. So that's why I'm pretty sure it has to do with strikers being on the field there and just being in that area. So I don't remember if I used the tier 3 here and it gets canceled out. Okay, no, because I did run up to the throne again, because this is after I've done quite a few runs with Sharon, just getting used to the skill rotation and getting used to the fight. Right there, that blast does put a symbiote totem on you, that red kind of blast that he does there. You can avoid that with an iframe. For me, I just popped my third skill so I could get the damage accumulation. So I did just hit those on purpose just to get the accumulation, because the damage is kind of night and day difference for Sharon, especially in this fight here when you can't debuff the boss. So no mind control, no all defense down. So you really, really need that accumulation for Sharon to actually do kind of her full potential in terms of damage. And you definitely need that, because the damage is actually very slow with Sharon if you don't get any of that accumulation. Luckily, he cooperates by doing attacks very often, so it is a pretty easy fight to get accumulation with Sharon, so you don't necessarily have to worry about that. Just kind of do her normal rotation, just sit there and face tank his attacks, and you will build up your attack quite easily. So that's one thing that makes this an easier fight for Sharon, which is pretty nice because as you can see, she's almost like skipping through the phases. So after we got that phase change when he got up off of the throne, all we had to do was like one tier 3 and it got him to the 22 bars to switch to the next phase. Right here we didn't quite get him. Oh no, we did, because it was at 12 bars. So yes, we got him to the dragon phase there. So it's like one tier 3 skill can switch in between phases. And also I have noticed, which I'm not sure if it was just a bug or how consistent it actually is, but when he's blowing these symbiotes there, the dragon, if you get in like a bad position where you can't really move to a, I guess, safe area for that second dragon breath, I've noticed that if you switch your character, it kind of stops him in place and the dragon will just do the attack wherever it actually is when you switch the character instead of following you around. Which I don't know if, like I said, that was a glitch or if I just got lucky, but every time that I've done it so far, which I would say is probably 5 times I've done it, so pretty consistent, the dragon always stops where it is and just does the attack right there. So now we're moving on to the final phase. And again, as you can see, Sharon is pulling through this just fine. We do, of course, have Star-Lord's leadership, so she does have some help there. I was trying to get a little bit of damage in with Star-Lord right here, so I just popped his 5th skill because you can kind of keep some distance there. I'm waiting for Thor, and then I'm popping his tier 3 just to get a little bit of extra damage there. And then I'm switching over to Sharon because I wasn't taking any chances with this particular fight. But I believe I would have been fine even if I didn't use Star-Lord, because as you can see, those bars just melted. Because I believe this is actually the very first try that I did after switching her to a CTP of energy. So basically the first try after I switched to a CTP of energy, she beat it for me. The other times I tried, like I said, I was just not doing enough damage right there at that particular phase to kill him in time. And we did get a pretty good hit here for the CCF, so that's pretty nice. But again, all the other rewards, they just don't seem very good here. Alright, so we're hopping in partway through here for the Doctor Strange fight. I thought I would just show the transition phase, how long it took him to get Knull down to the 30 bars, or I guess it's 31, isn't it? I think he switches at, I don't know, it is 30, so I had to get down to the bottom of the 31. How long it took him to get to the phase change here. And for Doctor Strange, because he has that invincibility on his 6th skill, or I mean his tier 3, you don't really have to worry about getting pushed back very much. So when Knull does that kind of attack that usually knocks you backwards, then you have to run back towards the throne to get into the safe area. If you have invincibility up, it doesn't push you backwards, which is fantastic. And same thing with the other blasts that happen with the red attack as well. And as you can see there, for Doctor Strange, for at least for stage 3 here, I was very, very tight on the damage, so I kept running out of time here, so I just needed to DPS as much as possible. So that's why you saw me still doing damage there, even though he started doing that symbiote attack, and I was just sitting there tanking it. And basically what I was watching for is how many of the symbiote icons I had built up, and as soon as I got to 3 and probably starting to get onto the 4th one, I switched characters and then I kite around to try to avoid the attacks, because I needed to get that extra damage in, because I was just running out of time, at least on stage 3 here. Because as you can see, the damage with Doctor Strange is actually very, very nice. So stage 2 or stage 1 with this same team, he should have no problem. He should decimate that. But for stage 3 here, he needed to be basically DPSing the entire time. So that's why you can see me just trying to get as much damage in as possible and not really trying to avoid many attacks. I'm just sitting here taking it because, one, Doctor Strange has the heal on his 2nd skill, which is fantastic for keeping him alive, and 2, it seemed like I could heal up enough to avoid all of that penetration and pierce damage, because a lot of his attacks do penetrate your invincibility and also your damage immunity. So we're getting, I mean, it looks like we're on pace here, so I don't remember what happened to make it so close, but this particular fight does go down to the wire, and I think I had to, yeah, I just barely switched in time there. So when he does that blast, it's pretty much an auto kill. If you don't get into the safe zone, that little safe circle, it does enough hits on your character to auto-fill that symbiote icon all the way to max, so it'll kill whatever current character you have out. So now I'm just doing the dragon part here again. And right there is actually an example of me switching characters. You can see it just stopped instantly when the dragon was tracking me. So again, I don't know if that's going to happen every single time, but for me, it has happened every time. So hopefully that can be a nice little bug or even mechanic if it's intentional for you to take advantage of if you're just in a bad spot when the dragon starts switching attacks. And right here, I think I have to not intentionally sacrifice Captain Marvel, but I needed to get that damage in, so I didn't really have time to get into the safe zone. So yeah, you can see I'm just not even trying to avoid attacks, and again, that's just because I need the damage. Normally I would say don't play like this, you need to avoid the attacks, but luckily Doctor Strange has a lot to protect him, and switching characters, as you saw at the correct time, can keep your main DPS alive. So we have 30 seconds here with Thor coming in. I really wish that, as you can see, I'm trying to get every little bit of damage I can. I really wish they would stop the timer here when Thor came in and did the attack there, because that's like, what, 10 seconds of time right there that you could be using to DPS that you're losing. And watch this, we're gonna barely get there. Look at the timer. 8, 7, 6, our CP of Rage turned off. No, 3, 2, CTP of Rage, I need you. There it is, 1 and 0. CTP of Rage activated just quick enough for me to get the clear with 0 seconds left. So yeah, I mean, of course, if I used a support there, because Captain Marvel and Iron Man aren't giving Doctor Strange any support, so put in Mystique there and I would definitely have more than enough time to clear this stage. But I was just trying to get as many teams as I could, so I was just seeing who could do that with the minimal amount of support. So here we have Odin in action. I'm just showing you the phase change here. It took him about 1.5 minutes to do the first 30 bars, but this video has already gone on long enough, so we're just going to go to the end here after this and just show you how he did in terms of time. Oh, we got those blade twisters trying to mess us up there, but luckily Thor gets rid of those. And now we're doing the last bit of damage that we need. As you can see, we still got 40 seconds on the clock. We pop our tier 3, watch the bars melt, and this is going to be a win for Odin here. And surprisingly, I gave you an achievement as well, or one of the achievements for having your entire team at full health when beating Knull. It didn't give you anything good. I think it gave me, what did it give me? I forgot already. I claimed it, but I think it was just like 20 Titan component packs, so it wasn't anything too crazy. But I thought that was weird that that was a achievement to have your full team, or all 3 characters at full health when beating Knull. But anyway, those are the 4 teams that I was able to get clears with. I might tweak this around so I can probably get 5 unique teams for clearing stage 1, but I don't know about doing any higher stages. I'm going to have to get more wins and build up my Conqueror level before I can do that. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Maybe it helped you a little bit in seeing how I was fighting Knull and what kind of builds or power you will need on your characters to actually take him on. So that'll be it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.